Hey everybody! Welcome back today and for our story time. Today I am going to Today I'm going to be reading you another bug book. And today it is a book called Bug Safari. See if you can see that. Bug Safari. And Bob Barner is our author and our illustrator. And this book we have permission to read with from Scholastic. And so today, this book is going to have some things about real bugs you would find in real life. And so today I want us to be thinking as we're reading along this story, what in this story could be real and what in this story is make-believe, okay? Because there's things in this story that could be real. They could really happen. And there are things that could not happen. And remember, we have those big fancy words for things like that. When a story is all make-believe, we know that it did not happen. Somebody just made it up. That is called fiction. Everybody say fiction. If something is a true story, if it's real information, it's the truth, it's something that really happened, we call that nonfiction. Everybody say nonfiction. Great. And those are things that we have already talked about in class, but I just wanted to review them for you before we read our book. And once again, the name of our book is called Bug Safari. Now, do you know what a safari is? A safari is kind of like a fancy word for like a trip or an adventure. And so I hope that today you already listened to the song about going on a treasure hunt and looking for all those different things. They're kind of like going on a safari. This hat that you see our character wearing on the cover, that gives you a clue about what the story is about because we call that a safari hat. And a lot of times when you go on a safari, you're going to like the jungle or the rainforest or somewhere like that. So let's see what happens on our bug safari, on our bug adventure. Are you ready? Here we go. The events described here actually happened to me. The things I learned are recorded to the best of my memory. We can still observe and learn from the great ancestors of the very ants I saw that day so very long ago. Well, it was last summer. Oops, look at the pretty colorful pages. Hold it up where you can see. I was lost in a bug-infested jungle one hot summer day. I was all alone. I was looking for a way back to my base camp when I saw a long line of marching black ants. Where could they be going? It looked like an ant safari. Was this a way out of the jungle? I decided to follow. I wonder what he's going to find. In all of my travels, I had never seen anything like the ant safari. Some of the ants carried things to eat, such as leaves and seeds or bits of other insects. The ant safari was in a hurry to get somewhere, and the ants didn't even look up at that big old dragonfly that buzzed over our heads. We headed deeper and deeper into the dark, unknown jungle. Now think about those things that he's saying about ants. Do you think those things are true? Do ants carry things on their back? Do they go in a hurry? I crawled over the rocks and through the mud. I had to find out where the ants were going. The safari passed under flowers that were humming with honeybees, collecting pollen. Is that true? Do honeybees collect pollen. Looky there. See the honeybees? That's another insect. I was measuring one of the ants with my ruler when the other ants zoomed past me in a slow-moving dung beetle. I noticed that the ants talked to one another by touching their antennas on top of their heads. So they touched each other with their antennas. They all knew where they were going. We were going so quickly. But to where? And to what? There are the ants. And there's the big old dung beetle. Do you know what a dung beetle is? It's a beetle that likes to eat poop. Ew. Then I saw them up ahead. Red ants. The black ants were fighting them. The tiny red ants were fierce, and they bit the black ants. But the black ants stood their ground, and they battled for several minutes until the outnumbered red ants finally just ran away. One of the black ants took charge. I called it the general. The wounded ants retreated, and the safari continued. Wow, so they even had a battle. Look at that, red versus black. What do we call those red ants? Some people call those fire ants. I was baking in the sun. I had a drink from my canteen. I just had one little sip left. And the ants became very excited. They had come upon a toad sitting in the middle of their path. Most of the ants just ran around it, but a few of them got zapped. Why would they keep going with all of this danger? Where could they be going? Now, is that true? Do frogs eat ants? Then I saw it. A giant green mantis in the bush above the ants. One of the ants was plucked up and eaten, but all of the others just marched ahead. They passed under sticky spider webs, spotted beetles, noisy crickets that made a chirping noise as we walked by, and I picked my way through the jungle. I had scraped my knees, and I had cut my finger, and I needed medical attention. I bravely passed onward, hoping I would one day see another human being. Sounds like this guy was quarantined in the jungle. They saw lots of different bugs. All of a sudden, a hairy black spider pounced in front of the ants. The general led the safari around the giant, but I feared the worst. I hid my eyes, I ducked for cover, and then with a swooshing sound, the spider was gone. I looked up to see its 8 legs wiggling in the beak of a robin. We were all safe for a moment. The general marched on. Wow, so what ate the spider? The bird, that's right. I was out of water. I was famished. And I was covered with bites. And then I heard a faint sound in the distance. Oh, I'm listening. I was perfectly still in the brush, so I could listen very carefully. A lone mosquito buzzed past my ear. And finally, I heard the call, a human voice. Base camp! Lunch was ready, and to my surprise, I discovered where the ants were going. Where were the ants going? wonder. I love a good safari. And so do those ants. What was base camp? Looky there. Look what the ants found. They found a picnic to eat at. All right. And then at the end of our book, it lists all the different bugs that we saw. It says most of the creatures in this book are insects. An insect has 3 parts. And that's what we've been talking about this week. A head, an abdomen, and a thorax. These 3 parts are easy to see in an ant, but harder to see in other insects like ladybugs or walking sticks. All insects also have 6 legs. A bug is a word used to describe many small creatures, all right? So in our book, we saw a dung beetle, we saw a stag beetle, we saw a cricket, there were some centipedes, a mosquito, a stink bug, and a spider. Those were just some of the bugs that we saw in our book. There was a butterfly, and a caterpillar, and a mantis, and the honeybee, and a dragonfly, and a regular fly, and a ladybug, and a walking stick. Oh, you can't see the walking stick. There's the walking stick. All right, so there we can look at the ant and see the 3 parts to the insect. There's the head, there's the abdomen, well, there's the abdomen, and there's the thorax. And then it has 6 legs. Count the legs with me. Oh, this is hard to do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so now that we read our book, I want you to think about what things in this book were real and what things were make-believe. What part of our story was fiction and what part of our story was nonfiction? What part was real? Bye, guys.